Hi guys, it's Lauren and Evie and welcome back to episode 2 of Diving Deep. Today we're going to be talking about the spiritual stigma. So for all you skeptical ones, make sure you tune in because we hope you're going to get a lot of value from this. And there's a lot to uncover, so we will get straight into it. The spiritual stigma. Because I was so excited to film this one. I know. Grasping. I think it's why we put it as our second one to film, because it's very,
it needs to be said.
Yeah, I mean, spirituality, it just has, so I cringe when I say I'm spiritual.
Yeah,
because I know what society has deemed that to mean.
Yeah, exactly. Like me too. I wouldn't tell someone that I'm spiritual.
It makes me,
I just kind of quietly do it.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm spiritual, because it's associated with being, I feel like people associate it with being mental. Like you talk to spirits, you talk to, you're it's weird, it's unnatural, but it's not.
No, it's not what people think it is. That's
no, and I think I said this in the last one, but it's the most normal thing. It's so funny because we've been conditioned to believe that this is normal life. Living, going to work, doing all this, not being in touch with energetic forces, not being in touch with nature, with plants, where that's our roots. That's what we came from, and that's the most normal thing ever.
Yeah.
But it's like it's flipped upside down, that's become really abnormal, and the everyday things of being so disconnected with our bodies and with everything else is normal.
Yeah.
But spirituality is the most normal thing.
It's so normal. It's going back to the most normal essence of who you can be.
Yourself.
Yeah.
And it makes me laugh it's like the narrative's been turned upside down.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, like people say we're human beings. It's like we're too used to being human and we're not used to being beings enough.
Yeah. That, I think the saying of you are spiritual beings on a human journey.
Yeah.
That's it. You're not human beings on a spiritual journey. At your core, you are spiritual beings. But I think the spiritual stigma has too much stigmatized mystical stuff of you're literally in a meadow, barefoot.
Yeah.
Like in your bikini, like meditating, talking to God.
Yeah.
Which it's not what it is.
No, exactly.
I mean, I come from I'm like, my brothers are very pragmatic. I'm not from a spiritual family at all. Like I feel like I'm a odd one out alien when I talk about it, because my dad and my brothers, they're very business minded and like I have to see it to believe it, and I don't believe in anything else. And so there's me, and I come in like, woo! Like, energies, do you know your energy? Do you know your this? And they just look at me and they're like, where's the proof? Yeah. Where's the proof of this? Where's the proof of that? And I try to tell them, I'm like, no, spirituality is so normal. It's a beautiful way of living. And I'm like, it's normal, guys. It's normal.
It's beyond the intellectual mind as well. So like people that are really intellectual, they're like, I can't see that. I can't understand that. Like explain it so I can see it and grasp it. It's not that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think we've grown up in a society that it's point, evidence, explain. When you were younger, when you go to school, you need a point, you need evidence for that point, and you need to explain that point. Yeah. Whereas spirituality, it's not rooted in science. It hasn't got that. I think there are thousands of studies that show.
Oh yeah, like science is waking up to the power of spiritual practices, especially like meditations and breath work and things like that. Like, it's been scientifically proven can heal certain people and improve their health massively.
But people can't see it, so they can't believe it. But there's so much that comes together that you're just like that. It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense on a like spiritual kind of level. I mean, I don't know about you, because you only became spiritual a year ago, didn't you?
Yeah, I've not been sort of looking at this stuff for that long, really. But and I'm lucky because my family are similar to yours. Like they're not spiritual at all. Yeah. They're very creative people. So I know, and with certain members of my family, I know they're sort of open to exploring a little bit more. And they probably just call it something different. Like I think definitely for my dad, for example, like he's definitely in the sort of spiritual, he's allowing that to help and infuse his life, but he wouldn't say he's spiritual at all.
No.
And I wouldn't. And the funny thing is, like, when we did the film, so when Carver and I met, that I wasn't spiritual at all.
You weren't, no.
And I remember waking up and you were like meditating in the corner.
I was there, I shut.
I'm like there, like trying to learn my lines, like really frantically, like trying to get my head in order and like get.
There's me, like.
And then Carver's just so calm, like in the corner, and I was like, she has her life together. Like, I was like,
I didn't.
Together. But to me, I was like, wow, like I admired it. Like it was inspirational in a weird way, but I was like, that's not me. And I literally, closed. I was like, that's so cool that's her, but that is not me. And it's funny because now it's sort of me, but it's like it's kind of a piece in all of us that we can activate if we're ready to and if we are open to. That's the cool thing.
I think you can't go searching for it. I really think spirituality, like, it finds you. And they all say when you hit rock bottom, you don't get spiritual from being already so happy. If your life's like amazing, if you out there are living like a really amazing life and everything's working for you, you think this is working for me. I'm fine. I'll carry on like this. Like this is I'm in this normality. I'm in this 9 to 5. I'm working like this. I'll carry on. It's only when you go through your biggest adversity that you have nothing else to cling on. I know that's been the case for you as well, but when everything feels like it's at rock bottom, I know I started my spiritual journey, like opened up to it all, when everything felt like it was at rock bottom and years ago, and I was like, what do I cling on to? Not that there's something to cling on to, but what I've got nothing to hope for. Everything, it was during COVID and everything in the world was just obviously shut down and not going on, and I was like, where's the hope? Like, where is the hope? And I opened myself up to, there's another realm, there's another like there is hope out there. Everything is meaningful, and it gave me some solace and some comfort in what I was going through. But I wouldn't have hit that unless I was at my lowest.
Exactly. And that's like the beautiful thing, that it gave you that solace and comfort you needed.
Yeah.
But people, because they hear the word spiritual and they go, oh, no, that's like, they're potentially missing out on some comfort that could actually really help them. Because at the core of what it is, it's just the truth is what it is. It's not anything as fancy. And, you know, we see images when we think of things. We kind of mentalize what we think that to be, but it's nothing. It's no images, it's no illusions. It's literally just the truth. It's just everything stripped back.
And I mean, exactly, why does that happen? Why do people look at spirituality and go, oh God, no? Because they're scared of judgment. That was me. I've only just I've always been spiritual, but I've been not a hidden spiritual. Like, to my family, I've been very openly spiritual. Like, I will do all my meditations and stuff and everything. But to outside world, to friends, to like a wider perspective, I've hidden that I was spiritual because I was scared of what other people would think. And it's only really recently that I've started to be like, you know what, this is me. I don't care what people think about it because it brings me comfort. So it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about that. And when you hear spirituality and you think of scared of being judged, you're stopping yourself from opening up to a new way of life because you're scared of what other people will think, and it comes into people pleasing and all that kind of stuff. You're stopping yourself from opening into a beautiful way of living.
And also there's like a big scale of spirituality. Like, some people, they embody it entirely. Like, they live, you know,
you could look at someone and go, you're spiritual.
Yeah, you're spiritual. And they have the crystals and they have this and all of that. And that for me was like, I can't identify with that at all. Like, I don't.
If you have to be spiritual, you have to go.
You have to do that, and it's like, you don't at all. I'd say I'm a spiritual person, but I just literally went by. I was very skeptical at every level of spirituality that I kind of dipped my toes into. I was like, do I believe this? Do I not? And I'm still like kind of a bit like with some areas,
some things, 100%.
But it's like I felt the difference in sort of like the hardest weeks of my life. It just helped me so much, and it's very hard to explain it again because it goes kind of beyond words and beyond intellect. But it can really like it helped me. So that was a proof enough for me. It was like, okay,
once it helps you, once it's doing well, if something's going well for you, you carry on.
Exactly, and you go, oh, okay, that helped me. So let's try a little bit of this pie and see if this helps me. And then it's like, okay, this helps me too, and that's kind of how you can kind of weave into it a little bit.
It's the part. It feels like you go down a rabbit hole. Like you've dipped your toe in, and then all of a sudden you're like, "No, I'm straight in."
Yeah.
And I remember, you totally straight into it. And I remember speaking to you, and I was like, "Evie, have you tried this?" Like, and then we started voice noting, and we were like, "Did you realise that this is like this, or there's energetic frequencies, this, and the universe, and all these things?" And it opens you up, and suddenly you're in a cascade of like, "Wow, there's a lot." But I feel like what we've managed really well is to make spirituality not a stigma and scary because we're not doing the craziest things.
Yeah. I mean, not our entire identities either.
No, I feel like we have a really nice balance of being, it sounds stupid because being human, but we're being human and living a normal life, but also infusing spirituality into that so that people don't find it scary. They're not like, God, she's wacko talking to spirits. I mean, I say that, but it's my family. I say to my family, I'm like, this is normal. It's such a normal thing, guys. Like, I'm fine. Spirituality is really good. And there was one night where I was doing a bit of releasing and just getting away some trauma of like for what I needed to do. And so I was outside. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I was just writing in my book. And I was burning pages out of my book just outside, listening to as you do spiritual music, and burning it outside with a lighter. And my brother looked out the window and immediately got my dad, and my dad came outside and was like, "What's wrong with you?" Like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm really not proving my point that spirituality is normal. Yeah, because they from then on now think I'm wacko. Like, I FaceTime them out here and they're like, "Oh, talk to many spirits today, have you?" and things like that. And it's funny because I don't get angry at it, but it's funny. It's a funny thing because they're very in a different mindset. People are only open to it if they want to be open to it, and it's the thing people can make fun of, but if it gives you comfort, I think that's really all that matters.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, it is funny. And I think, and I didn't like make fun of anybody. Not that there's anything wrong with in a family, like you tease each other. But I was like, okay, if I saw someone like that, I was just like, I don't get that. I don't get it. And then I'd make a joke or whatever, because it's like, that's not my my idea of reality. Was just it was hard to resonate with it,
which is why I feel like people don't go into it, because they're like, people are going to make fun of me, people are going to judge me, and but if it brings you the solace that you need and the comfort that you need, so be it.
And even just like awareness, even just bringing a little bit more awareness into your day-to-day life can massively help. Like with me, with what I've been going through, my nervous system can be so heightened for a long period of time, and I didn't even realize that I was holding so much tension in my body. And when I started to be a little bit more present and kind of go, okay, am I actually relaxed in this moment? And then I could just, and even that's not like being super spiritual or anything, but it's just using a tool from that sort of space to help actually make my life a little bit easier to live.
To live with.
So,
and I think it's just, we just shut ourselves off to it way too easy, and it's not a scary thing. There's so many facets of spirituality, not just you need to talk to God and you need to talk to the universe and you need to like this.
I think a lot of people put it in a box with religion as well. And if someone's not necessarily, like, I personally am not a very religious person, but it's weird, isn't it? Because I feel like
people ask us this all the time. Like, my brother asked me, well, do you believe in God? And I go, no, but he goes, you believe in a higher power. And he was like, are you not just using that as God? And I don't believe in a singular, this is wrong, this is right, religious type of thing, because that's what leads to wars and conflicts, because you follow this religion or you don't, and that's what creates the arguments. I believe in one whole power that encompasses the whole universe. And I mean, it's funny because once you open yourself up to it, you see the changes in your world, like the synchronicities and things like that. And I mean, I don't believe in coincidences. I really think that everything is a meaning, means something. And what I've had like open up to me is just incredible.
And that's the thing, like, the more you dive into it, the more you sort of like discover other things, and life becomes a bit more of a game.
This is the thing, I've started treating life like a game.
And even when you're dealing with something really difficult, obviously that can be hard to see it as a game in those moments, but it gives you solace to think, actually, this is part of like a bigger plan. You have to go through this and there will be light to come from it. And that for me and for people going through hardships, I'm like, if they have a tool to help them see it from that perspective, like see through the trees rather than be stuck in the wood, why not? Why not allow that in your life?
I mean, the biggest like spiritual teaching is that you are one with life. Like, you are one with life, and I don't think that's a really esoteric concept. That's very normal. We are all one at the core being, and everything that happens to you, I just love, is a classic, what's meant for you will never pass you by. That's, if you believe in that, you're not spiritual, but you believe that there's forces out there that are cultivating your life in the way that it's meant to happen. And so in a way, we're all kind of tapped into that.
Yeah, we are. It's there for everybody.
I mean, how many times have you gone through a situation and you've gone, oh God, I'm so glad it happened in that way, because
all the time
I couldn't have imagined it happened in any other way.
And like anyone, even if people aren't open to these kind of things and not reading the books and whatever, it's like everyone's had a moment where they've been thinking of someone and then they've rang them.
Oh my God,
Everyone's had a moment where they're just like, they cannot explain how that happened, but it's just naturally happened.
That's what I like to say to people. I go, if you're not spiritual and you don't, because a lot of, like, my brother would be like, no, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And I go, have you had a moment where two things have coincided and you can't physically explain how that's worked? Like, say example, like your example, I've thought of my brother or something and then he's called me. And then in that second, within the split second I've thought of him, I just thought, I really need to, or something like that. And then he's called me and you're like, oh, I just thought of you. It's because we believe that you send out an energetic frequency that person then absorbs and then follows as well.
Yeah.
Because everything is connected by energy.
Yeah.
I mean, science has proved energy, so why are we so shut off to it that it can work in these mysterious ways?
Yeah, exactly. And we're all made up of atoms, so how are we not all connected?
Yeah.
Like,
that's my favourite thing of just, we are all, like, when you dive deep into it, you are all like spirit. We are all just like this ball of spirit in this vessel. Whatever you believe happens to you after you die.
Yeah.
I believe that you're like reincarnated into a new vessel. Your spirit's one, but you go to each lifetime, you incarnate in a different body.
Yeah.
To explore that, learn your journey.
Yeah. And it's like the thing of, there's so many things in life. I think this all the time. I'm like, if you actually stop and look at the sky, that is why do we just accept that is, we don't know much about that?
Yeah.
And the sea and things, it's like, there's so many phenomenons. Is that a word?
I think that's,
phenomenas.
Yeah.
There's so many of those in life that are just incredible, and they are what they are, and we just accept them as, oh, we don't understand that, but that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, so how do we deny the fact that there's other things that we're not going to understand with our conceptual minds?
Things working,
that are powerful and that are working for us.
Like synchronicities is just,
yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, because we'll start using spiritual terms, but they're kind of, you can understand that synchronicities are like two things happening and they're connected in some way. You can't explain how they're connected, but there's a higher force at play that made those two things happen. Like, it could be two things across the world come together. Like, I always use the example of, like, you were going through your photos or something and you thought of a friend that you used to go to school with, and then later on that friend messages you and you hadn't heard from them for months. Like, that's who brought that together.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, like you said, with life's a game thing, once you tune into it, it's like you've opened the door and all of a sudden everything in your reality reflects back that there are higher workings, and you tune into your inner voice and your intuition. I mean, that's my favourite thing to talk about, intuition.
Oh, that's like an episode in itself.
Yeah.
But it's like, and if you start to open yourself up to it and you're looking for things, synchronicities and stuff, the more you look for something, the more you're going to find something. It's like the red car theory. Like, if you're looking for a red car, you're going to see so many. Whereas if you weren't programmed to think about that, you're not going to notice any. And it's like, the more you invite this side of your life in, the more things will multiply, and you'll just be in a flow before you know it. It's like, oh, okay.
And then you find solace. And then when your days do become, because now, like, we're spiritual, our lives aren't perfect. I know have the most awful days, the most down days, but the way that I deal with it now, I keep saying to people, 2 years ago, I was a completely different I was wacko. Like, you'd set me off, I'd be off.
Yeah.
But now I deal with stuff in such a different way that just, I'm so proud of the way that I deal with it. And could look back and I was like, if past me looked at me now, would just be like, wow. Like, because you find ways to stop suffering, creating more suffering for yourself or for other people as well. Yeah. It's just, that's what spirituality helps you through those bad days.
And you notice the patterns within yourself, so you can start to catch yourself out. Yeah. Because, like, even the other day, like, I was having a bit of a tough day and I just felt...
Oh, you did the best thing.
I felt so... I literally said to you tonight, I was like, I feel like I'm going to cry, but I'm just going to go back and I'm going to meditate.
And you did, and you went and meditated.
And it helped me. And it's... and we did, like, a women's circle last night, and she said about alchemizing, and that really stayed with me. Yeah. When she said, turn an energy can be... You can use that and turn it into something else. So if you're dealing with pain, you can channel that into something more positive. And you can't feel a positive thing and experience pain. You're either focused on the positive or the whatever it is, peace or whatever you're trying to transmute, and you literally transform that energy.
Because on the flip side of yesterday, you were really going through it and you said, I'm going to go and meditate. Imagine on the other side of that, you didn't know about spirituality, you weren't in tune with this, you would have probably gone back and had a mental breakdown.
Yeah,
and
I've done that a lot as well.
And that too. But the awareness that you have to now go, no, I'm going to calm myself. And how much better did you feel?
Oh, so much.
After that. And then we went to the women's circle, which we maybe would have not gone to if you had a breakdown because you were like, I'm not in the mood to. And we learned a lot from that women's circle about a lot of things.
Exactly. So it's a lot of it, even though people think it sounds airy-fairy,
that's
a lot of it's actionable, like stuff you can actually do to make your life a bit more peaceful and live in a bit more harmony as well.
Yeah, and it's not... the main thing about spirituality that we really want people to understand is that just because you're spiritual, you don't need to go off to the mountains and go and meditate in silence for 10 days. You don't need to go and do that. You just need to find little actionable bits in your life that you can implement, whether it's 10 minutes of meditating a day, going and sitting in silence. Yeah. That, like, just for your thoughts is incredible. I mean, my brother, like I said, he's very business minded, like won't believe in the spirits, won't believe like in the energy. But he set himself a goal of meditating for 30 days.
That's great.
And he said to me, and he was like, I found that he was more aware of his mind. And he said, I kept getting memories from when I was like 5 years old that I didn't even know why were there. And I said, it's not about controlling them. It's about noticing them. Yeah. And then whenever you notice your mind's drifted, bringing it back to the present. And the big thing is I love trying to help him when he says a spiritual thing. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, tell me, because I want to help you. But then we've talked about this. You can't force someone into spirituality if they're not ready. If you're listening to this podcast and you're like, I've got you
probably turned it off by now.
Yeah, you've probably listened to it. Yeah. You're like, I don't like this. But if there's something in you that's opened a little bit to it, it means you're gravitating towards it a little bit. But if you're off it, we've said you can't force someone to open up.
And like I read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I read his book when I was like 17. There's a picture on my Instagram of when I was like 17, like reading this book.
Yeah, you showed me.
And I didn't like I think I enjoyed the book, but I completely missed the point of the book.
You just read the words.
I read a book. I didn't actually, it didn't make me go into myself or like help me through anything. And when I went to read it again years later, when I was in a very difficult place, it just hit the chord in me and I was ready to hear it. And I actually then was able to sort of implement
to go, oh my God, there's another one. That's why so many people will hear these teachings going, and then they might go back to it in a few months' time when they're struggling and go, it's like your soul's not ready to open up to it if it's not ready to open up to it. I mean, I've spoken to people like healers and things like that who have gone, some people's souls aren't ready to awaken in this lifetime. I mean, and that's a kind of mystical thing in itself, like you're spiritually awake.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, they said that some people's souls are not meant to awaken and be aware to the spiritual energy in this lifetime. That's why, like, I think my dad, he's not, like, or my mum, they're not ready to awaken to this in their lifetime, but in their next lifetime, maybe they are ready to open up to it. And I mean, that it's not that they're living bad lives, because they're not. I'm sure they've loved their lives and they're really... Some people are comfortable. That's the thing. Some people are comfortable in living a 9 to 5, in following the norms of society. Yeah. And that's completely fine. But it's how you deal with it in yourself. But I think when you open up to it, the world is evolving. And I mean, we both listened to a lovely girl called Ella Ringrose, and she is amazing. She is really, really...
On YouTube.
On YouTube, the pivotal of like spirituality, and helped me tap into my essence. And she says that people will like go on these journeys and some people will awaken, some won't, but you've got to let it come to you whenever it does.
That's really interesting. Yeah, because I think as well, like there's a lot of snake oil out there. So like people that want to go into spirituality, sometimes people know there's a need for people that want to learn about this stuff. So there are things that aren't actually grounded in truth. Yeah. But if you're like, you just know in yourself if that's resonating with you or if it's not. So it's like that's like something that you have to sort of figure out for yourself, isn't it?
And I mean, I feel like my life now is it sounds silly, but my life is so much more guided. I'm more of a like spirit than I am a human at this point. Like I feel like there's a voice inside of me, like a guiding voice from a higher power that guides me more than my actual human body does. And we need unconscious people in this that aren't awakened to this, because then that's how we learn. If everyone was awakened, it would be amazing. We'd all be living an amazing life, but would we learn anything? Yeah. Because there are unconscious people who do horrible stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of people won't go into spirituality, because they think if there's a higher power, if there's good out there,
why does bad happen?
Why is bad happen? Especially with what's going on at the moment.
Yeah.
If there's bad stuff happening, well, there's not a like nicer, spiritual, happier God or something who helps us, because why does all that bad happen? Why do bad people do things? But then it comes back to karma, and you only learn from those really low points, and from you think there's an evolution, which I really think there is an evolution going on. And I think in more years, like decades to come, people open up more and more and more.
Yeah.
But not everybody's meant to, because that's why it's like the yin and the yang of some people are meant to be up there, some people aren't.
Yeah.
But it's the people who are up there are meant to try and build you up and just find you can live this way, and hopefully it will help you go through what you need to.
Yeah. No, exactly. I agree with that.
Like we said, we're not preaching. We're not.
No, and I think it's important to say as well that everybody's equal. So if you're on a spiritual journey or whatever you want to call it, that doesn't mean you're superior.
You're no
to
better.
Someone who isn't doing that.
That's your ego telling you, I'm better. Like, I'm spiritual.
I know something you don't.
I know the secrets of the world and you don't.
And it's not.
If you're in that situation, that's your ego telling you that. You are literally on the same level
as everybody
else. Like, it's the whole like job wise, like a person who's, I don't know, a really famous singer or something is exactly the same as someone who's working for a charity and helping others. They're the same level, they've just chosen different paths.
Yeah. And even our struggles and stuff, like everything's obviously relative, but it comes back down to an emotion at the end of the day, like some sort of dysregulation. And in that level, we're all human. We're all going to feel like a spectrum of emotions. And in that sense, we can all relate to each other, because we've all, we all teeter into these different things, and we're all just trying to navigate life. Like, none of us know what we're doing, really. Yeah. But I think the more you can tune into sort of what your soul wants, the more you're guided towards the things that are for you, instead of like what you think society wants you to do.
And what you think other people are going to think of you and stuff. And that's what we really want people to understand. If you're teetering on the edge of like spirituality and you want to get into it, and you're thinking, I really kind of like this, but I'm scared what like Johnny from year 6 or something would think of me. Don't be, because they're on their journey, and you will be, we always say this to each other, you will be rewarded in with so much that you'll learn about yourself if you open yourself up to it and you follow that space. Don't worry about what other people are going to think of you. And I'm a massive people pleaser. I think huge.
We both have struggled with that.
Massive, which I think is a whole another thing we can talk about. That's why I didn't want to step into my element of spirituality, because I thought people are going to think I'm weird. Like, people are going to think I'm really crazy and like go up in mountains and like sit for hours and talk to spirits. But if that what brings me the solace, I'm going to do it.
Well, we're all here once. Like, you got to do what's right for you. And also, like, even in that women's circle, she said that some people might not necessarily want what's best for you.
I loved this when she said this.
They might want you to stay similar to how they know you, because in their world, that's how they're comfortable.
Their ego.
Because they're comfortable with knowing you in this way. So if you're suddenly changing and evolving, or
they're gonna go, oh my God.
And we're designed to evolve. We're meant to change. We're meant to try new things. We're not meant to, I believe, stay as we are. And and that doesn't mean you've got to change up your whole life all the time. But I think we're allowed to kind of explore things, dip our toes into different things, and it might be uncomfortable to other people.
Because their ego doesn't like it, because everyone's ego likes to think they're superior than everybody else's. So if it sees someone else going, oh, they're like tapping into their higher power, they're speaking their truth, their ego's going to go,
it's uncomfortable.
Let me just put hate towards them, because it's weird. Like, you see all these people being spiritual and the hate that they get online and things. That's because that person's ego knows that there's a part of them that would really like to tap into that energy, but can't, because they think they're going to be ridiculed for it. And it's just, everyone wants to keep, there's a thing between ego and your higher self, and I'm sure a lot of people know about it. I mean, that's not, I don't think, too foreign, but you do have your ego that is driven by safety. I mean, we need to have our ego, don't we? Because it keeps us safe, and it keeps us...
It doesn't matter how much you meditate, you're still going to have your ego.
I get my ego all the time, like, da-da-da-da-da. But do you choose to live by your ego, or do you choose to live by your higher self, by your soul, by your spirit, which is love, kindness, everything, whereas your ego is destruction, envy, hate, anger. If you're living by that, that's what you're going to create if you live by your higher self.
And your ego's loud. Your intuition's very quiet. And sometimes in society, it's a very loud society. You get
follow your ego
into this, that, and the other, and it's all sort of a good playground for your ego, where if you can just get into a quiet corner, and again, you don't have to go to Bali to do this, but just have some sort of space or some sort of practice, even if it's for 5 minutes a day, just to come into yourself and just be quiet and sit with yourself.
Yeah.
That can help you hear your intuition that's underneath all of the noise, and it can help guide you through what you actually want to do, rather than
100%.
all of these other options that are more ego-led.
Because we all have pulls. We all have that little, you know, when everyone says, oh, I wanted to do this, but I didn't know why. Like, I really wanted to text that person, but I didn't know why. I wanted to go down that way instead of going down that way.
Yeah.
But then they made that choice to go down that way and follow their, like, higher self and what that inner voice was calling them to. And they did this, and it, like, went up, and you got to the best result you could have ever got because you followed that higher calling. Like, I don't know, you chose that job, which is where you met your best friend, and then your best friend's friend, you met your boyfriend, your future boyfriend, and now you're married and things like that.
The butterfly effect.
Yeah, I love the butterfly effect. Like, butterflies are my sign from the universe. Everyone has like little signs. Butterflies are my sign. I'm just like, everything's good. Yeah, you're good. And I think once you tune into that, you just feel like you're protected.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in my own energy bubble, which I can follow and be seated in and feel comfortable.
Exactly. And like you say, it doesn't mean that nothing bad's going to happen to you.
No.
It means that the bad things, or the things that are uncomfortable, are there for you, to test, to make you grow. And
I mean, my biggest, you said this in the women's circle, your biggest, hardest points in your life, it teaches you. It's like a wasp sting. This is what she said, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get stung by a wasp, but that teaches you for beautiful and like bigger things that you can get through.
Yeah. No, exactly.
I think it's just a whirlwind. It really is a whirlwind. But I think for people who are not wanting to dip into spirituality because all this stuff that we've said, just give it a go. You don't know. There's so many. Don't think it has to be this extreme or nothing.
Yeah.
Go into it slowly.
And this episode is about spirituality, and a lot of them will be about more like life, more like spiritual elements in it. So it's
because spirituality has helped us, and we've, like you said, used a really nice word, infused. It's about living a life, but infusing spirituality into that.
Yeah.
I mean, because we feel and hope that people can relate to us because we're not off doing the craziest, wackiest things to try and connect with spirit. I mean, we do a lot of interesting things like breath work that would be quite foreign to other people. We've dipped our toes in breath work because the body stores the trauma and stuff, and we'll do like ecstatic dance and things like that, which I told my family about that, and they were like, so you're joining a cult out in Bali basically. And then
my family have said that before, like,
they were like,
are you joining a
cult? They were like,
cult?
can I speak to Evie, because I really think you might be joining a cult right now. And I'm like, she did it with me as well, by the way. But it's not, that's the thing, that's your ego going now, she's joining a cult, but open yourself up to it, and you never know what's going to happen. Yeah, exactly. And it's just whatever you're comfortable with having a look at. It's just exploration at the end of the day. Yeah, and just dipping your toes in. Like, if you find some, and I almost guarantee that people will find a little bit of comfort, a little bit in, instead of going crazy if someone cuts you off. This is a really quick thing before we end, is like cutting people off in traffic and things. I used to be a road rage driver.
Oh, yeah.
Someone cuts me off in traffic, like, I'm beeping the horn and I'm nearly getting out the car to be like,
oh, really?
Just cut me off in traffic.
Oh, damn.
And now people cut me off in traffic and I'm like, I don't think I've used my horn in like however long when I was trying.
Your horn's waiting for you to use it.
My horn is like so rusty, it's not been used in ages because people cut me off, and I'm just take a deep breath and I go, God, I hope they're okay, you know?
Yeah. And that's what meditation does.
That's what meditation does. We don't think about the compound effects because people think, I've meditated, now what? I didn't get anything out of that meditation. But then you come to a situation where usually you'd kick off, like your waiter got your order wrong or something, and you'd be like, how dare you get my order wrong? If they get your order wrong, because you've meditated and you're aware to, we're like, you're nervous, like you say, your nervous system calms down. You regulate yourself into a state of calm. And the waiter gets your order wrong, okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll just wait till you make a new one. Yeah, and you just create so much calmness, and it has an effect on other people as well. The energy that you give off, we say this about everyone has like electromagnetic fields of their heart and stuff. If you're around, you know, when you walk into a room and you're like, oh, this energy in this room, I love it.
Yeah, and you can feel it. You can feel the energy in someone.
Yeah,
like we live in a society where we want to do something and we want the reaction straight away. We want to meditate once. I mean, I've done this before. Like, I've drank a healthy smoothie and gone, this is going to heal my problems because I have had my banana and my whatever. And I'm joking, but like we want the result
immediate gratification,
because we want proof that we're not wasting our time, or we're, you know, that we're getting something out of whatever we're doing, which is understandable.
Yeah.
Compound effect, like you said, just bit by bit, you will start to notice. You will feel different inside. People will notice as well, but you're starting. You just hold calmer. You hold yourself differently. You're like, you're so much more relaxed, or you seem happier.
I mean, I wish people in secondary school could see me now, because they'd be like,
wow,
whatever you take, you're not crazy anymore. But we talked about this yesterday. Because of society now, we switch a TV channel and we get an immediate result. We order a takeaway and it's here within 15 minutes. We're not used to waiting and being patient, and meditation will not give you an immediate effect. It's not going to. Dipping into the spirituality will not give you a straight up effect. It's a journey, it's a compound.
And it's like many things, like if you're into the gym, you go to the gym and you work a muscle. You don't go to the gym once and think, I'm gonna have 6-pack abs. You go, it's part of a lifestyle. You do a little bit every day and you will start to see results. And when you start to feel the results, if you stop because you think, oh, I'm super spiritual now, you'll be
humbled.
There's
so much to learn. I always got to like the point and I was like, I've got this. I'm spiritual. And then you like, there's a whole nother, because triggers still come up and you go, God, I need to deal with this again, I need to deal with this again.
I think they always will. I think you're always going to be humbled with it.
But I've genuinely, and I can honestly say this, never been happier or more content on this journey that I'm on right now. And I always think to myself, where would I be if I hadn't have gone down the route of spirituality? I'd have dug myself into a hole, like a very deep hole.
And that's like my family are a bit different to yours, because they know I'm sort of a little bit spiritual and stuff. I don't really talk to them lots about it, but they have seen how much it's helped me. Mentally, I was just in the absolute piss. And it's helped me get through and improve. You know, I'm still on a healing journey, but it's helping me cope with something really quite difficult in my life. So they can see those results and they're going, okay. And then my dad's going, so what are you doing there? Or like,
I'll tell you,
so what happened there? Like, what was and they're a little bit, you know,
into it. Whereas mine will just walk into my room. They'll knock on my room and I'll literally be there chanting or doing some like, summing the room or something, and just, you know, making my space happy, and they'll walk in and they'll go, right, Lauren's meditating again, off again.
Just like, okay.
She's upstairs meditating, just leave her, like she just needs to go and do her thing. And it's fun. It's actually quite funny being in a non-spiritual family, because you just feel a bit like, oh, I'm doing this, like they're all downstairs and I'm like, I don't relate to that, I'm gonna stay up in my room and I'm gonna do this. But you don't isolate yourself. That's what I think.
No
as well. Spiritual stigma, people think they've isolated themselves, they've gone. You don't.
Monk mode. You don't have to go into monk mode.
It's like Jay Shetty. I feel like he's the pivotal, like, perfect example. He lived in a monastery and he was taught all the monk ways. I mean, I'm reading his book right now, and he was taught all these monk ways, and he was like, he did it for years, but he was like, you know what, I'm going to serve people better if I bring this into society, if I bring this way of living into society. And he did. And look how many people he's serving now, just with his little, like, things that he's teaching. Some people were meant to, this is what I read as well in another book, that some people are meant to be quiet, like off spiritual. They're meant to do it for themselves, and other people are meant to teach others and learn what they really know and things. Because otherwise, how else is everyone going to learn? It's a lot to unpack. But I hope we've kind of made it a bit more normal.
Normalised it. It is a normal.
I mean, my stories don't help. So
no, but it's
wacko.
No,
I mean, you looked over at me the other day, and I was tapping, which is a whole nother energetic thing that you do to kind of like clear blocks, and I was tapping on my head and my eyebrows, and you were like, were you tapping today? Like, what is that about? Just look over and Lauren's just tapping on her face.
But I've got enough trust in it now that I'm like, I'm not going, what is she doing? I'm going, what is she doing?
What is she doing?
Can I do this? Is it going to help me? What is it?
Other people, if they're not quite open to it, they'll be like, literally, I did it a mistake in front of my brothers once, and we're at the dinner table, and if a heated discussion comes on, they're like, right, let's all just clear this, let's all just clear it. And I know they're taking the mick out of me, but it's like, okay, that's fine, like, works for me, I know it works for me, just let them laugh, because it gives them a bit of, I was like, try it before you knock it.
That's the thing. A lot of the things that I was skeptical about, I was like, okay, I'm gonna just do this as an experiment, like, it can't,
because you've been struggling to sleep, haven't you?
I've been struggling with insomnia since I had like a severe flare recently, and I've just struggled to get my sleep back. Even though my body's improved, my sleep just would not my mind was just so awake. And I think being creative as well with the podcast, it's been a long time since I've been like really, my brain's working and it's great, but my body's like, I need sleep.
I need rest.
And my mind won't let me sleep. So anyway, and yeah, with the tapping, you told me about the tapping, and then I tried it last night before bed, and just like I started yawning, and it was like getting ready for sleep, and it was the first night in like a week or whatever it's been that I actually slept through.
Yeah.
So
and like maybe it's placebo effect, maybe because that's what we say as well. It fascinates me how you can give someone a pill. All these stories and like studies, if you've given someone a pill, you've told them it's this that will help cure this, but it's actually a mint, but the person still, their symptoms still go away. Explain that then, because the power that our minds have, and spirituality gives you that, installs new things in your mind so that you do go about life in a different way, and you genuinely rewire neurons and you see life in a different way. But that's what spirituality can help you to get into.
Exactly. And that's like science as well. There's so many studies on this.
I think spirituality and science is more connected than we think it is. Everyone thinks it's two opposite, like your spirituality or your scientific. But they're intertwined.
They're intertwined, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, I hope you enjoyed this chat. I don't know how long we've been chatting.
I don't know how long we've been chatting for. But, there's so much more we can say, but I just...
we'll go
stuck at that, because I know some people will be very new into the spirituality, and some people will be very... quite far advanced into spirituality, but it's a nice balance of, because some people say they're too spiritual and they can't ground themselves then back to everyday lives, and that's what in our podcast we're going to help. If you're very up here but you're like, how do I relate to people, how do I because I can't relate to people because they're spiritual and I'm not, but you can, because you're on the same level. So we're going to explore how you bridge that,
and I'm hoping to understand that too
as well.
You know, I've done a lot of monk mode out here and back in the UK as well, and it's like I'm sort of thinking, how do I go back? How do I go back into those lives when I feel so different? But there are ways through, and we're going to navigate that ourselves, and you can navigate with us, and it'll just be a bit of an exploration. And if you're new to spirituality and this has kind of piqued your interest at all, then come along, like watch the other episodes, because as we say, they're not going to be as spiritual necessarily, but they're going to have elements of this in that can help,
hopefully some tools to help you go, there's and tools, find a way that helps you cope with stuff that's or that you just love life a bit more. We're here to love life. Forget that we think we're here to be miserable, and we spend so long thinking about the future and how we're going to live life that we forget to live it now.
We project happiness into the future. We think we'll get happiness. There's a whole other topic, so I won't go into it, but we project it into the future, and actually if we were happy now, that would bring so much more into our lives. It would help guide our lives. There's so much we could talk for hours, couldn't we? And thank you so much for watching this episode. Give it a like, whatever platform you're watching it on. If you can share it, that would be really good. It really helps us out with starting this.
Definitely. And if you want to reach out, honestly reach out, because we could natter for hours, and we love meeting like-minded people who are also into this and want to talk, or even just to help with the little things in their life if they have a trouble or a challenge or something and they need a bit of guidance on it. Not that we're experts, but we'll do what we can, what we found.
It could be a lonely journey, so if we can connect with as many people as possible, that'd be amazing.
And connect each other, which is something that we've got coming. So make sure you tune into the next episode, because we will announce it probably at the end of the next episode, something that we've been building and that we're excited to kind of get people together on, which I think will help a lot of people, hopefully. And so it's not as much of a lonely journey. It's a bit more togetherness, which is what the world needs right now. But tune in for that the next episode.
Absolutely. Have a good day, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye. Bye, guys.